Welcome to Manflow Yoga. It's yoga for guys.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Dean at Manflow Yoga. Today I'm going to talk about yoga and how it can help your shin splints. Now I'm not going to go into all the causes of shin splints. I will talk about a couple of them, but I will talk about yoga and how it's been able to alleviate some of my symptoms, or at least lessen the symptoms of shin splints. Now, main reason for shin splints is the arch in your foot. If you have a flat foot like this, and your whole foot tends to touch the ground when you're standing straight up, you're going to get shin splints more. You're more prone to get shin splints than someone who has an arch, for example, that pushes their foot up like this. So they have a nice rounded arch on the bottom of their foot that looks like that. Flat foot looks a little more like that. Now the reason for that is because it's mainly because of the ground that we walk on. Our bodies have developed walking on flat cement, walking on carpet, walking on whatever flat ground, whereas we evolved to walk on uneven ground, and our feet adapt to that. So the result, we have flat feet, and that makes a lot of imbalances in the rest of our body, mainly from our feet all the way up our legs to our lower back. That's why if you have flat feet, sometimes you'll have some problems in your lower back, because it affects your hamstrings, it affects your calves, it affects your hip flexibility, it affects everything really. So there's a few things you can do to help alleviate the pain from shin splints. You can strengthen certain muscles in your lower body. You can work on flexibility in your hips and your hamstrings and your calves. You can strengthen your calves. Now these won't cure shin splints, but these will help with the pain, and hopefully with the proper warm-up and with the proper exercises after a run, you can get back into running quicker than if you were not to do these exercises. So instead of talking to you about all my theories on shin splints and my experience, I'm just going to go right into what we can do to work on it. So we're just going to do a basic warm-up. So the usual stuff that I run you through: the chair sits, chair pose, warrior 2, warrior 1, crescent warrior, maybe some lower back exercises. And then we'll really get into the stretches that can help work on strengthening the muscles that you need to for shin splints, and also working on some of your hip flexibility, some of your hamstring flexibility. Final thing I want to mention before we get started: in addition to the inflexibility and the flat arches that can cause shin splints, I'm also going to get into the imbalance between the muscles in the front of your leg and the back of your leg that can cause shin splints. So we tend to focus on our calves and really neglect the muscles that are in front of our shins. You can see right here, this is a muscle right here, and if you flex your foot up and down, you're going to feel that muscle protrude. So we're going to work on some of the poses that we normally do in yoga, in any of the warrior poses. Within those poses, I'm going to show you some modifications that you can make to make sure that you're engaging those muscles to try and get them stronger to work on your shin splints. Okay? So let's get into it. Alright, let's just start in chair pose just to warm up a little bit. Remember to reach your arms up as high as you can, trying to make your back perpendicular with the ground. And here, the first thing we can do, shin splints, you can make sure that your toes come up off the ground. So bring your toes off the ground and make sure that just the bottom of your feet are touching the ground. So this is going to flex those muscles in the front, lower part of your leg. Let's do 10 more seconds here. Get down a little lower. One more. Forward fold. And go straight back into Crescent Warriors. Drop your right foot back. Bring your left knee over your left ankle. Come up, core engaged, reach up. Here, again, shin splints, bring your feet off the ground. So pull your toes off the ground. You're trying to bring them towards the ceiling. It's going to engage the muscles right here in the front of your lower leg. Switch. So bring your right leg up, drop your left leg back now. Right knee over right ankle. And then bring your toes up off the ground. Five more breaths. Come back to standing. Alright, now that we've got your legs a little bit warmer, let's go into a warrior one. Keep your left leg forward, drop your right leg back. Just face forward, left knee over left ankle. Press into your back heel, make sure that your foot's on the ground. And then your front foot, take your toes off the ground. Try and engage those muscles in the lower part in the front of your leg. Conversely, in your back foot now, you've got your calf pressed into the ground. Sorry, I've got your heel pressed into the ground. Just forcing your calf to extend, working on your calf flexibility, working on your calf strength in your in your back leg. And come forward. Switch legs. Left leg drops back. Warrior one left leg. With your right leg in front, sorry. So 45-degree angle, pointing out to about 10 o'clock in your back leg. Hips face forward, right knee over right ankle. Core engages, hands come up, biceps frame your ears. Press back into your back heel. Your left calf is engaged, And then bring the toes in your front leg and your right leg off the ground. Three more breaths. One. Come forward. Let's drop back into Warrior Two now. So right leg comes back. Bring your butt under your core. Make sure that this knee is over your ankle. Press back hard into your right leg, and then bring this knee over to the left wall, left side wall. Hips face the right side wall, and hands come up. I recognize that this isn't a very fun flow right now. The point of this really isn't to move a lot. This is just warming you up, and then we're going to get into some of the not more challenging poses, but some poses that are going to help you with shin splints, like I said earlier. So bring your toes and your front foot off the ground. Work on strengthening, again, the front part of your lower leg. Make sure you're pressing back into your back leg, rooting down in your heel and your toes and the outside of your right foot. 5. 1. Come back to center. Now drop your left leg back. Warrior Two. And your left leg. With your right leg forward. Bend to your right knee. Make sure your hips are open to the side wall. Butt comes under your core. Hands come up. And look straight over your middle finger. Make sure this knee is pulling to the outside, and make sure that the toes in your right right leg are up off the ground. Just the balls of your feet are on the ground now. Five more. Come back to standing in the front. Let's do some more stuff just to get warmed up. Let's do some lower back stuff. Some really simple stuff. Let's just get onto our back. We're going to do some bridge poses. Not wheel, just bridge. So lay down. I don't know if you can see this. Palms on the ground, facing the ground. Feet flat and on the ground. And then just going to come up in your hips. Keep your knees about 8 inches apart. And then try and bring your hips up as high as possible. And then bring the weight into your shoulders. Make sure that you're not crunching your neck. You're trying to bring your chest as open as possible. Make your chest as open as possible. So bring your feet as close as you can to your butt. Scooch up a little bit. Raise up. Interlace your fingers under your back if you can. Five more breaths. Lower down. Bring your knees into your chest. Let's come back up to a standing position. So at this point, we're getting to the point where we want to. We're getting to that warm point. Just going to do a couple more exercises, and then we're going to go into the shin splint stuff. So last pose of the standing series for now. We're just going to do a dancer pose. So right leg up, grab the inside, your right hand, left hand comes up. You're going to push your right leg back, keep your hips in line here. So just pushing straight back, not turning out, and doing some twisting of some sort. You're just trying to push your legs straight up and back. Your body comes forward, but you're not coming down. You're still reaching up and forward in your left hand. Five, 3, 2, 1. Come back. Opposite leg. So the left leg comes up. Grab the inside of your left ankle or foot. Reach your right arm up. And then push back through your left leg. And bring your right arm forward. Keep it up, keep reaching up through your upper body. Keep your hips level. Keep a sturdy right leg here. Five, 3, 2, 1. Come back. All right. Let's get into it. All right, here we are. Stretches that most people don't know about, I'm going to show you now, that you can do anytime, as long as you're warm. First thing we're going to do, work on flexibility in this position. So you're in a split position and a half split position. So we've done this before. You walk your leg out like this. Try and create as much distance as you can between your legs, between your knee and your ankle up here. And then slowly bend down, trying to get your chest into your knee, keeping your hips in line, reaching your head forward. This works on hamstring flexibility, your hip flexibility. Careful not to pull anything here. This is a very intense pose. Key here is to breathe. Don't push past your boundary. If you think you've reached it, just stay there. If you're unsure, stay there. Don't go any farther. You're going to hurt yourself pretty badly if you commit to this pose too much. You're going to pull your hamstring. It's going to take about 3 or 4 weeks to heal if you're lucky. Not a fun injury. Alright, to get out of this, use your back leg to kind of walk closer to your front leg. Move your hands, bend your leg a little more, and then you can switch legs. So it's the opposite leg down. Right leg comes in front, walk it forward, walk your knee a little back, your left knee, walk your right knee a little bit more forward, and then fold into your right leg, trying to bring your chest to touch your thigh, walking your left leg back a little more, making sure your hips are in line. Two more breaths. And get out. Ease your left leg closer to your right leg. And spin out. Now we're going to switch back to the same position that we were in before. Different motion here. So you start from this half splits, but then you're just going to push your left leg down toward the ground. So bring these toes as close to the ground in front of you as you can. And that's going to stretch this part of your, this right here, and whatever the front of your calf is, the front of your lower leg. And while this is happening, I'm going to explain what's going on when you feel shin splints. So remember, just try and push your toes down to the front leg there. Feel this strain right here. Now, shin splints results from, like I said, an imbalance between, like I said earlier, an imbalance between the muscles in your front of your leg and the back of your leg. And the tension that you feel, the tightness that you feel, like when you have shin splints, when it feels like you can't bend your leg at all, when you start to lose feeling in your lower legs because it feels so tight, the source of that pain is it's inflammation, and it's coming from your tendons pulling on your bone. The tendons pulling on your bone because your muscles in the front of your leg are overworked. So it's an imbalance. So when we do this stretch here, what I'm doing right now, that's making those muscles a little more flexible, making them a little stronger, and helping them deal with that tension in the future. So I would do this before you start running, before you start the bulk of your jogging workout, and definitely afterwards. Doing this isn't going to make the shin splints go away, but it will significantly make them significantly less prevalent. It will make them much more manageable. And if you do it enough, the symptoms could go away. It just takes a really long time. But make sure you're doing these. All right, let's switch now. So again, we come to the beginning of the half split. Your leg comes up, and then you press your toes forward toward the mat, toward the ground. This is going to create a nice stretching sensation right here. You can kind of tell, well, I know that's HD, but I don't know if you can really tell from that far away, that I have flat feet. So that creates that imbalance that I was talking about. So the front part of my legs are overloaded. So with that overload in my front legs, those muscles can't handle it. They swell too much, and then that muscle, that tendon that's connected to that muscle, starts to pull on the bone, and it inflames, and it causes that pain, it causes that feeling that makes us think that we can't run another step. What you can do for it, short term, you can buy insoles for it. Super feet are what I recommend. Make sure you get the blue ones. You'll know what I mean if you do a quick Google search. Always ice and compress after you have a workout, and compress during the workout. A really good thing to do is just use pre-wrap, wrap from here to the upper part of your calf, and then compress, wrap it as tight as you can. Prevent that swelling from happening. And then when you're finished, ice, compress, elevate, repeat. So yeah, those are some things you can do short term. What I'm showing you right now, these exercises, this is something in the long term for you to do. Also, before and afterwards, I would also massage these muscles right here. That helps a lot. All right, let's come out of there. Next on the list. Make sure that you're also stretching all the lower parts, all the parts of your lower leg. So that involves, I also like to do this walking thing. Actually here, this is a good, it's a variation of not frog, it's a good variation of, oh wow, am I forgetting what this pose is called? Yes, I am. It's a variation of this pose. Can't remember what it's called. Anyways, this is for your hip flexor. But again, we've done this before. The point of this is to get your forearms down to the ground. Work on your hip flexor flexibility. Also from here, if you just open your leg up here and then push your knee out to the side, you're going to get a little bit of a different stretch. You're going to get some stretching going on here. Your hip flexor just a little different. You can also press down into the side of your the outside of your foot, and you're going to feel a little bit of stretch right here, and that's also going to help with shin splints. It's important to get every part of the muscle in the lower leg. That's going to help you out. So make sure that you're stretching calf, front here, and then both sides. This is just a variation of this pose that I'm forgetting what the name is right now, that I like to do a lot. And we'll switch. And open up. I was going to stretch a little bit of your IT band. It's just a different stretch. Feels pretty good. It's good to do different things every now and then to test your body. All right, bring it back in. One more thing I really want to show you. You're going to need a rope of some sort, or a stretch band, or this guy. All we're going to do is just going to lie down on your back, take opposite ends of the rope, wrap it around the ball of your foot, come up, and then you're just going to stick your heel up as high as you can, flex your toes toward your body. So you're trying to bring your toes toward your chest so that your heel is going to be above your toes. And this is going to really work on your flexibility in your lower leg, and also work on the strength in the front of your lower leg. So you're basically flexing down. So pointing your toes, flexing those muscles, engaging those muscles, and you're pressing up through your heel. So at the same time, you're increasing the flexibility of your calf. So this is a really good exercise that's very often neglected. This one I like to do, hold this for just 2 minutes at a time. Make sure that you're showing some progress, that every 10 seconds you're going a little deeper into the pose, bringing your leg up a little higher, pushing your heel up a little bit more, and
and bringing your toes down a little bit more, closer to your body. Making sure your legs locked out when you get to the full extension, the full expression of this pose. You can also just use your bicep strength here to pull your leg in. But make sure it's not just your bicep strength that's pulling this in. Also use your toes to pull your toes toward your body and then press your heel up. I'm just doing the opposite side now. You guys know what it looks like, so I would just do this on your own for a few minutes. Do the opposite leg. Maybe this will help a little bit more. So the heel comes up, heel presses up, and then the toes point down, and you try to point them toward your body, bring them closer to your body. At the same time, you're straightening your leg and pushing your heel up toward the ceiling. Lock your leg out. Make sure that your lower back is touching the ground, that you're not up here like this, that your lower back's touching the ground, and that you're trying to bring your body to a T right now, so that your left leg and your torso are forming the top part of the T, and your right leg, in this case, is forming the line perpendicular with the lines on the paper. Use your biceps to pull down. Make sure that your toes are your toes are pulling down towards your body, and your heel's pressing up. And then relax. So, basically that shows you 3 moves, or at least 3 moves, that most people don't do a lot, that we do a lot in yoga, that are really going to help you out with the pain associated from shin splints. Like I said before, the immediate things you can do, the inserts, those are really good. Icing afterwards, the compression afterwards, elevation afterwards, so lying down on the couch, putting your feet on top of a few pillows, letting all the blood come out of your lower body, prevents swelling. Ibuprofen is another thing you can do. And then while you're running, you can pre-wrap, use an ace wrap, tighten as tight as you can. They also sell Neoprene Sleeves now, which I actually have right here. These ones are McDavid. They work fine for me. These just go on your legs from here to here. And again, they work in compressing. You see these a lot in basketball players like to wear these guys, except just on their arms. The point of that is to prevent swelling. And it works to some extent. It's a good short-term fix. But the long-term fix, which is what you guys should really be looking for, those moves I showed you just now, making sure that you're stretching all parts of your lower leg. So like front, side, make sure you're also doing calf. We've done a ton of calf exercises. I'm sure you guys know what those are. The splits, and then making sure in all the yoga poses that we're doing that you have this foot that's not just pressed into the ground like this. I tried to explain this at the beginning in the poses that we ran through in the Warrior 1, the Warrior 2, and the Crescent Warrior, but you don't want to have your foot just flat on the ground pressing into your toes. You want to have these front toes, you want to have these toes come up off the ground so that you're only on the ball of your foot. That's really going to force you to engage this front part of your muscle here in your leg. And that's going to give you the strength that you need to start to help, that's going to give you the strength that you need in the front of your lower leg to help correct the imbalance between the muscles in your front of your leg and the back of your lower leg. And that's going to help you work on alleviating that pain from shin splints. So, I hope you learned something. I hope this was beneficial. Shin splints are a huge problem for, I don't know what the figure is, but I'm sure that, I guess that 75% of all athletes have experienced some form of shin splints throughout their lives. And a lot of them don't really get over them. Like me, you just deal with them, you ice, you stretch, you know your limits. So hopefully those poses that I showed you really help out with it. Again, thank you for watching as always, and
Namaste.